Today on the Topping Show, Vivek on the Biden-Trump debate possibly being a setup. Biden claims that black men are being hunted during a commencement speech. J.K. Rowling retweets a mother who gets threats for standing up for female athletes. Jurassic World kids show has a lesbian kiss that sparks controversy. Oakland, California is replacing traffic lights with stop signs due to theft. Honda to invest $65 billion into manufacturing EVs. Red Lobster files for bankruptcy. THC-infused drinks ignite controversy. Mercedes-Benz workers vote no to the UAW. And Ford, BMW, and Honda recalled nearly 200,000 vehicles. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I see he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business product podcast, you have Honda to invest $65 billion to build 7 new EVs, which is quite a pretty penny to say the least. Now, this is brought to us most appropriately through Electrek, which is perhaps one of the best named websites in terms of you kind of know what you're getting. And this is by Peter Johnson. They say, quote, Honda plots to spend $65 billion investment to build 7 new EVs as it looks for a comeback or a downfall, depending on how you're looking at the glass half full or half empty. Which, if you're just tuning in, the design almost looks like the bastardized DeLorean. It almost looks like a fish, big, wide mouth. And it has like it looks like an LED panel almost for a grill, because again, EVs don't need grills. And again, Citroën Honda would be very disappointed. Actually, the founder of the Honda, great book I just read last month. It is actually Driving Honda by Jeffrey Rothenfinder. And yeah, spoiler alert, they founded the company, the founder actually started Honda with piston rings. That was one of the first products he ever invented. He ended up ironically selling them to Toyota. Didn't work out so well, a lot of defects, and he went to school, made it better and better. I mean, a big part of Honda's company from not day one, but early as motorcycles, then is also just every type of motor you could think of. That's why some of the best bulletproof generators on the planet are Honda generators, which are going to be illegal in California because they don't like internal combustion engines. So when they shut down the electric grid, inevitably in California, you won't even be able to power your own home with a generator. But I partially digress. The whole history of Honda is manufacturing the best, most durable internal combustion engines on the market. And I don't almost say bar none, but Toyota obviously gives them a good run for the money as well, being enormously successful. Now, this is coming as, again, you see the whole trend of EVs is slowing down to not a snail's pace, perhaps a vintage Prius's pace, since, interestingly enough, the new Prius is pretty fast, but a vintage one is mostly trash, because like all EVs, after a certain amount of time, the battery dies, and it's just terrible. Now, they note that CEO Toshiro Mai laid out automakers' new strategy last Thursday, claiming that Honda has not changed its belief that EVs are the most effective solution, unquote. Now, they say Honda believes it can compete in small electric vehicles and motorbike segment. In the long term, Honda is confident that EV adaptation will continue to rise. The company wants to take advantage of the period of EV popularization, which will happen in the second half of the 2020s. Let's see. Well, EVs are very expensive to make. You also have a lot of overhead, a lot of research and development. Then you have China, which doesn't have unlimited resource allocation, but they can subsidize a lot of companies like BYD, and they're already coming out with the most aggressive price points in the market, bar none. The only reason they haven't gotten here yet is because of the government basically stopping them. The U.S. government basically saying you can't import it yet. Now, they say throughout this new strategy, Honda aims for a 5% return on sales for its EV business in 2030, aiming to make it self-sustaining. Yeah, they also have a new series called the Honda Zero Series is expected to play a role. The 2 new concepts, the Saloon and Space Hub, were revealed at CES in January. So they're naming a car a Saloon and a Space Hub. At least it's not numbers like BMW. And they look, I don't say comical, but yeah, they say it'll launch in 2026. China, Honda will introduce 10 new EVs by 2027, represent 100% of auto sales in the region by 2035. And again, they think it's going to be their big future, which they're already very far behind. Tesla being the 800-pound gorilla in the room, taking a majority of the market share. And again, with EV adoption rates are decreasing. The only reason we're getting more and more EVs is the government is putting a gun to people's heads and forcing them to buy them, and giving massive tax incentives to do so. It also gives the government more control over your life because then you just shut off your car at a moment's notice by just sending a little signal to the vehicle, which, let's be honest, they will probably inevitably do because governments do what governments do, both left or right, whatever we want to call it. But yeah, it's interesting. They're going to invest, again, $65 billion, and they're going to move away from the core competency that made them what they are today. Very risky move. Again, will EV really be the future? Is this a shot in the pan? Every company is also talking about hydrogen. We've had that concept for decades. The bottleneck in that being, who could actually profitably manufacture, distribute, and resell the hydrogen fuel. That's the bottleneck in that particular equation. That's stopping the mass adaptation of that technology. But let me know, would you ever buy a Honda EV? Now, personally, obviously, me, hell no. Every car I have will always have 3 pedals, also known as manual transmission, and a nice engine, because I like to smile when I drive anywhere. And my good old Honda Civic SI, with 3 pedals, as all vehicles should have by default, they will hit 200, 300,000 miles. It's got a good old ICE engine that my local mechanic could work on. And if I had perhaps a little bit more mechanically inclined, I could do it myself if I chose to do so. EVs, you're locked in. It's like a smartphone and basically disposable. So personally, no. But let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Red Lobster filing for bankruptcy, unfortunately. Now, there's a lot of speculation that there's high propensity that this is already happening because the company's been loaded up for debt for a little while, and recently they were closing their stores. There was a lot of rumors going around the last couple of weeks, but I was kind of hoping, like a lot of retail establishments do, GameStop perhaps most famously, there are a lot of times you just need to close your underperforming stores. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go out of business. Now, unfortunately, in this case, it does look like that is the case. Now, this comes to us thanks to Reva Gold, who is an editor over at LinkedIn, in which Reva says, quote, America's biggest seafood restaurant chain has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection after suffering a higher labor cost and pricey leases, unquote. Well, that's funny. Everyone who keeps clamoring to raise minimum wage to skyrocketing rates, they say, there's never going to be any negative side effects. Food will never go up in price. The companies will never go out of business. Oh, wait, that's precisely what's happening in addition to more and more layoffs. It's almost as if the age-old saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, is saying for a reason. Although, trying to be more pessimistic, I think mostly politicians don't really have good intentions. They just want to make us more dependent on the government by destroying the economy. But I partially digress. Now, they also say, quote, Florida-based Red Lobster said it would use its proceedings to reduce the number of restaurants it operates and sell its business to an entity made and run by its term lenders. The news follows the recent abrupt closure of dozens of its approximately 600 U.S. Red Lobster restaurants. Reports from the Wall Street Journal last week that it was nearing Chapter 11. Now, they note that the Thai Union Group, Thai Union Group, which took over the company about 4 years ago, previously shared plans to exit its stake. So, very unfortunate. I mean, a lot of people love Red Lobster. They have some great deals. I know people, was it bottomless shrimp or something a couple years ago? People went wild for. And it's, again, one of the best, well-known. I would say it's definitely not entry level. It's not prohibitively expensive. It is a more premium service. And it stinks because obviously there's demand for that in the market. Perhaps it's dwindling. People are just kind of pivoting towards the even more entry level or the higher premium when it comes to seafood consumption. Truth be told, I don't think I've been there at least 24, 36 months. But let me know in the comments. Are you going to miss Red Lobster? Again, they're just going for bankruptcy. They're going to restructure. You're going to have a new owner. They already closed some of their underperforming stores. I suspect they'll close even more stores. Because again, a lot of them might be located too close together. A lot of them might be just underperforming. They're going to have to make some changes in order to make it profitable. So hopefully the brand doesn't go away completely. I don't think it will. Hopefully not too many people are displaced from their jobs and are able to find gainful employment and one of the competitors are Red Lobster and some other type of fast food or, if you want to call it more convenient food areas. But let me know, when was the last time you actually went to Red Lobster? Are you going to miss it? And if you're an investor, do you think, fiscally speaking, are they going to make a comeback and really grow exponentially next 12, 24, 36 months? Or do you think they'll continue to struggle? As always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have THC-infused drinks igniting controversy. Pun moderately intended. Now, this again comes to us thanks to LinkedIn News. And this particular article is written by Rob Sachs, who's the editor over there. And he noted that, quote, oh, there he is. Drinks containing THC are growing in popularity, but they're also driving a wedge between the alcohol and cannabis industries, per Axios. The drinks may contain the drinks which contain trace amounts of THC derived from hemp are legal thanks to a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill that, quote, inadvertently legalized its production, for Bloomberg. Marijuana products, by comparison, are illegal under federal law pending reclassification by the government. Some of the companies selling regulated marijuana, quote, feel their market is unfairly at stake, per Bloomberg, while alcohol distributors lobby to keep making hemp-based products. So as if we didn't have enough drugs in society, pharmaceutical and recreational, for better or worse, now you can just drink it. And again, there's a lot of businesses that are sparking up, well, moderately intended, in this industry. And yeah, it's one of those fascinating things where, the Hearst Group, who originally helped lobby to get marijuana banned in the United States? Was it William Hearst? I know Joe Rogan brings it up like every other episode, but it was a magazine founder and a successful textile entrepreneur. And yeah, I don't know what they looks. By the picture, almost looks like he was to grab these at like a convenience store. Again, I don't recommend consuming this product, especially if you operate heavy machinery. But we're going to see more and more of this business explode in popularity, I suspect, next couple of years, and more people want to kind of tune out of modern society and just kind of not disappear the problems, but more accurately ignore the problems with alcohol and drugs, perhaps. And yeah, on a federal level, I mean, Biden's hinted that, well, maybe reclassify marijuana and the devil's lettuce, whatever you want to call it, maybe reclassify it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 or Schedule 3 to 1. I forget all that. I'm not an aficionado. But that would make it basically less of a penalty and eventually probably pave the path towards legalization, which politicians also seem to come up with these crazy ideas every 4 years to gain some extra votes, and then they do nothing. And same thing with gun rights every couple of years. Like, oh yeah, we're going to help you out. And they get elected and they basically do nothing in many cases, not all. But fascinating enough, I've never heard of THC drinks. Which, again, if you have any friend in the cannabis industry, or any friend who likes recreation at all, that is one of those popular non-pharmaceutical, I don't say substances or products out there. Where, again, I've had friends who say they receive miraculous benefits from a product. I know some who swear by it, and a lot of people say it's a better alternative to the traditional pharmaceutical companies. Where, again, depending on what pharmaceutical SKUs or products that you're assigned to by your doctor, those can be very expensive, especially if you don't have insurance. Some of the cash rates are hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I definitely could see this as an alternative for those folks. Now, on a legal level, it seems like most every state allows the production, consumption, and sale of THC. Like even in Oklahoma and Texas, like even around here, I'll drive around, I'll see like the signs like the THC stores. And I suspect they'll kind of continue to grow in popularity because a lot of people do want alternatives to kind of your traditional pharmaceuticals. And a lot of people will boo on alcohol because, again, you have hangovers. None of these products are perfect. I mean, one of my favorite economic professors or economic theorist, Thomas Sowell, he wisely said there's no such thing as solutions, only trade-offs, which, again, with every product, service, anything in life, I kind of tend that to be true. So it'll be interesting to see if more and more people choose THC as an alternative, and does the market just increase? And then does the government pivot away, or do they actually change everything to make these products illegal explicitly? So right now it says it's kind of surviving through a loophole. So let me know, have you ever even heard of these THC infused drinks? Would you ever try one out? And do you think the market's going to explode? And I mean, you even do have some of these legacy manufacturers like Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, that even some of them are investing in some of these companies, just kind of bolstering a lot of the consumer confidence and the kind of the industry confidence that as a product category should be taken seriously. So there's also that to take into account. And they're always looking for new ways because, again, the number of Americans drinking high fructose corn syrup in a can is decreasing. So there's a lot of interest out for those traditional manufacturers as well to find new alternative ways to get things down our gullet. So let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have J.K. Rowling retweeting a mother who is getting threats for speaking out against trans athletes. Now this comes to us, actually retweeted from J.K. Rowling from Riley Games. See here. Playing about a minute 52 long. And also looks like the video was originally by the Publica, good old Jeremy at the quartering. Now Riley Gaines originally said, quote, "Listen to the mother of a female runner in Oregon speak to the threats these girls and their families face if they even dare speak out about the injustice of undeserving men stealing women's titles. This is despicable and unacceptable. Hashtag OSAA, which is the official Twitter account of the Oregon School Activities Organization." I suspect they'll get very popular very soon with that hashtag, or they will now. Looks like the mother's blurred out. Again, this is originally credited to the Publica. Without too much further ado, and their voice is, of course, infinitely more soothing than mine, so without too much further ado.
My daughter is in her senior year, and she has to compete against Aiden, who just won first at state and took away spots from our girls, and he doesn't deserve it. He needs to be with the men. I don't care if he's transgender. You can have your own opinion and do what you want to do, but you have no right taking away from these girls. Their emotions matter too.
Right. Has anybody been afraid to speak out?
Yes. A lot of parents are afraid to speak out because there is repercussion from OSAA that if you discriminate or you put anyone down for their gender or talk negative, it can disqualify the children from events, but it can also just pick out parents from all OSAA events.
Oh, so you'd be banned.
It'd be a lifetime ban for both.
Oh, wow.
That's my understanding. And it's not fair. These girls, my daughter has been training since 5th or 6th grade to be where she's at. She trains year round. And for him to take it, it's not okay. He might be able to compete in college, but he will never be able to compete on a national level. Never.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about this?
Why is it that transgender and LGBTQ have taken away so many rights for women? We have fought so hard for years, and here they are taking it from us in sports, and they're taking it from girls who don't deserve it and don't understand.
Can't imagine having your kid. And Elon, I don't know, they say it's a bug or a feature, but every time you finish a video, usually just it automatically resets. Perhaps because you're so enthusiastically watching, you want to see it again. Maybe that's what Elon is interpreting it, maybe, but it is quite morally, mentally vacuous to say the least. To have someone have an opportunity stolen, and have biological man who, again, has inherent benefits, inherent advantages competing in female sports. I feel like more and more people are getting more outspoken. They're not as intimidated as they used to, where people, again, and there are still people who will not speak about this topic because they're worried about losing their job, they won't get a promotion at work, maybe they'll be just socially ostracized. And again, depending geographically in the United States, that could very well be true. Somewhere like California and San Francisco, you would probably be chased out of the neighborhood with pitchforks. And I was about to say, what else would be a more appropriate metaphor than pitchforks? Adult toys, rainbow like sparklers, and lots of those flags. That'd be probably more accurate if you look at the parades and all that kind of stuff. That'd be a more accurate way they would drive you out of town. They also probably shame you or something. Accuse them of some ism. That's a very popular tactic. Again, you just want to have your kid have an equal opportunity for girls to compete against girls. You're giving them a level playing field. Now, this one moderately valuable. About 500,000 views, about 22,000 likes. Some of the top comments being like a cartoon sketch. And this is from LBG or LGB. It says, "How is it?" And it's a cartoon where you have a female with the jersey that says women's rights and says there's really something unfair about this. And you have a big old guy with a ponytail who's jacked, like, got muscles the size of most people's thighs. And his little uniform, a basketball jacket, that has a trans right on it, and he says bigot, and he got gold and she got silver. Probably about 2 to 3 times body composition of that individual. I got 314 likes. Let's see here. 5 suffragette says, "Speak out, we must." And it says a bunch of women doing weightlifting, and it has a man in a dress weightlifting. And interestingly enough, her hair is not blue, but there's a gal pointing to the gentleman lifting and says, "Her right to compete must be protected at all cost." And the other ladies are looking like nice grandmas saying, "You're so virtuous," which I don't say F- for marketing, but that's not typically what we're seeing. Most grandmas aren't out there saying, "Yeah, good for you." I would venture to say most of them would probably be giving them a, what would be an old timey saying, giving them a licking, so to say, like a rootin' tootin' scolding. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, I don't know if that's too accurate of a comic right there. Not a single blue hair in sight. I got 135 likes though for that particular comic. let's see here. I also have a gentleman wearing a dress going into a woman's, staying outside a woman's stall, saying after you, and the little girl's looking at him. Going down here. Honey Badger Mom, aka DK Buffer, saying, "This is my interview. Thank you for retweeting. There are thousands of people there, and only a handful are willing to speak out. This was one woman in the stands when the boy ran against the girl, stood up and yelled for everyone here. That's a boy in lane 5 running. This is wrong. This shouldn't happen. More people need to call us out, not just online but in person." I'm getting 440 likes, which, yeah, 110%. Peacefully protest. Bring some. Go to Hobby Lobby if you have the budget. Get some nice card stock or poster board. And make your opinion be heard. Because believe it or not, there are a couple of people who don't realize this is happening, especially if they don't have children not interested in. I was going to say most people are interested in high school athletes and maybe a little bit in collegiate athletes, just if you're alumni or something. But there are a lot of people who don't believe this stuff is happening. We see this a lot of cultural phenomena. I was going to say, first this isn't happening, or actually we're told, certain things aren't happening. They were said, oh yeah, it's happening, but it's not really happening to a large scale. They're saying, oh yeah, it's a big scale. Then they say, oh yeah, you have to embrace it, now you have to celebrate it. That's kind of the traditional thing you see from a cultural phenomenon. Cactus Castle says, I can't believe this is where humanity went in my lifetime, getting 173 likes. Here. Frontliner says, the men claiming to be women steal the titles meant for women, have no shame and sense of value in them. They have been defeated by life already. Got 40 likes. Here. Share, I don't know if it's a real share, but Share says, the crowd needs to make their feelings clear. No one with an ounce of decency and respect for safe and fair competition wants to see a mediocre male trouncing female athletes. It's an abomination. Getting 53 likes. Here. 28. Let's see. Belinda says, our girls need to learn to fight back. If someone does not speak, yell. Getting 96 likes. His and contrarian statements. Because again, there are millions of people who do want this happening. Most of them live in San Francisco, but nevertheless, they exist and they vote. Here. Nicholas James says, how did the perverts gain so much power? Getting 49 likes. Yeah, remember when we were told, just in the bedroom, everyone just wanted their privacy. Just do whatever you want in the bedroom. Yeah. The slippery slope theory is not really a theory. It's a fact. Here. This is a dark humor comics. A base chef has a picture of a man doing the, what is that? Not the javelin, that's the little pokey stick in the Olympics. What is the one where you just throw, not like a glorified cue ball? You throw that ball, spear throwing thing. Thing you do as a kid, but then as an adult you compete in the Olympics. Spear throwing? I had one friend in high school do that, but nevertheless, you probably hopefully can guess what kind of Olympic event I'm saying. Shot put? Maybe? Yeah, probably. Anyway, it has a gentleman in a tank top. He's about to throw the ball, and the t-shirt, or the tank top has a trans flag pinned to his chest area. And it says, winning is 10% luck, and he throws the big sphere. It says 20% skill, 70% saying he identifies as a girl, and he gets first place, of course. Got 67 likes, which, yeah. Yeah, who is this? Tina Marie says, oh no, she says he has a picture saying transgender is a mental disorder. Men cannot compete in women. Women cannot be men, getting 71 likes. Bo says, Oregon no longer requires proficient reading, writing, and mathematics skills. It has restored prehistoric quality education, so good luck with eliminating boys and girls sports, which is entirely unfair to girls. Getting 3 likes. Which, yeah, I was going to say, living in Oregon, I don't say it's red flag number 1, but dear God, why are you living in that place? Place that made all drugs legal, but banned plastic straws. That is the priorities of that state. So, interesting enough, not a single contrarian statement. Again, there are millions of Americans, millions of people who think it's a good thing. But, I mean, I don't really see how it's fair. But let me look honest. Again, I have friends on the left and the right and the middle. I mean, I have one who does believe we should just have one category for all sports, where it's just not, gender isn't a thing, it's just every single person, which, by de facto, you'll just have men's sports, because the men would just dominate everything. Then I have most of my friends who are, most of them are involved in, have family connections that are working in these areas, or more accurately said, competing in these realms, so it's not too an issue. But a lot of my friends are saying, yeah, it's absolutely mentally, morally vacuous, disgusting. Well, they don't use that vernacular, of course, they're normal, they don't speak like me. But nevertheless, let me know in the comments, do you know anyone who approves of this type of activity of having men compete with girls? Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting culture news, you have Jurassic World kids show having a lesbian kiss sparking outrage because, of course, that's a thing. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, and it's actually a commentary of a commentary, and this gentleman's voice is, I'd say, pretty good, pretty much better than mine. And she says before the clip, "Isn't Jurassic World just supposed to be teaching children about dinosaurs?" Unquote. Which, that's how all education used to be. Used to be teaching kids about, facts, history, math, science. Friendly reminder that public school is at 32-year low ACT scores, and pretty much every other subject as well individually. Yet the teachers' unions want more money. Perhaps they should focus more on actual, history, education, mathematics, science, the zeros and ones, so to say, instead of teaching political identity and identity politics and sexual orientation. Yet again, reason number 9,958,453 to homeschool your children. But nevertheless, this is, of course, in most major media. And again, there are millions of people who think this is a fantastic thing to introduce them to kids to these themes at a young age. I would say about half the country, well, maybe 20% don't care, maybe another 30% are vehemently against this. Without too much further ado, let me go ahead and expand this. It's about a minute long. And it's, let's see, this is going to be funny. It's like a video of a video of a video. But let's see how it is.
Folks, you need to check this out. We just sent our kids to bed. This Jurassic World was still playing, and we came across this.
You were trying to tell me something before. What? Earlier, in the lift, before the Nothosaurus went all crazy. It seems super...
I don't want to say she's dressed like a hoe. I wouldn't be that provocative. I want to use that type of language, of course. Well, you have a kid show where one of the main gals is wearing, what is it, a tank top? Exposing her whole arm. Which, in the Muslim community, I'm pretty sure she'd be in a lot of trouble. So it's interesting what parts of quote-unquote PC culture these cartoons chose to embrace. But I partially digress.
Important. It was. The truth is, Sammy, I've fallen for you.
Lord have mercy.
Like, hard. Real hard.
Jurassic World, Jurassic World. Since when did this happen in Jurassic World? I thought it was about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, guys.
I don't even know when.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. Jurassic World, guys. Protect the kids. Protect your kids. Sometimes you have to watch what they watch.
Wait, so now you have some perverts watching? So you have the two gals kissing, and then behind a rock is someone else staring at them. What are they teaching here? So now they're teaching it's okay to spy on people? Is that voyeurism? That's a whole other thing in and of itself. I checked the Urban Dictionary. That is the thing.
Watch what they watch, guys. This is crazy, guys. This is Jurassic World,
And of course, everyone is a crowd. Has that ever happened? Like, even straight couples, like in the real world, has anyone ever clapped and given accolades for someone kissing? I get it's a TV show, but in Hollywood does that in movies. But to me, that's also hilarious because that just, again, it's not realistic to talk about dinosaurs and all that stuff. But, and I think in the show, maybe dinosaurs are still around, in the unrealistic part. But nevertheless, if that has happened, let me know. Unless it's like a famous person. Yeah, has anyone ever like given accolades and like everyone just applause just from kissing? But it's almost done, I swear. Partially digress.
Jurassic World. And we sent our kids to bed just...
They're finally official. I don't even think they changed their Facebook status. Which, that might be a pun, because, back in my day, that was like a big official thing. Like, once two people start dating, they would change their Facebook status. And if they want to be an asshole, or an a-hole, apologize for that, they would just change their status from it's complicated, which is just a way of women wanting extra attention. But, partially digress.
Before this happened, we didn't even know this was going to happen. This is crazy. This is crazy, guys. Guys, watch what your kids are watching.
So the girl says, and you said there's no perfect moment. So a perfect moment in this scenario is kissing someone and having all your friends watch. Creepily watching but not telling you at first, then coming out and giving you all applause. Like, how does that not spell awkwardness?
Be careful. It's everywhere now.
It is. Even in the Jurassic World. Which, I'm starting to see why people collect VHS tapes. Might not be a bad idea to dust off the Veggie Tales. One of those things where also physical media can't be altered, so you know actually what you're getting. Whereas again, they could change this tomorrow. And we've seen many media companies change their material based on where they are releasing them geographically. Most famous, you had Disney having Lightyear with the gay kiss. And interestingly enough, they removed it for Saudi Arabia, which to me shows that they're not authentically behind that type of ideology. In some ways, they just want to basically get whatever they can for money, which, again, I understand that. Now let's get, what pretty well, I got 1.5 million views and 16,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. One of the first comments coming from Mr. Biggleworth's memes, which A+ for marketing, they did respond in meme form, which, sometimes they do or do not. And he says, parenting in today's world, and his parents holding up a umbrella over their kids, and it looks like it's raining a rainbow, and some parents have a boy girl. It says, so there won't be, it says, I'll teach my own children, so there won't be any confusion. At 925 likes. Let's see here. John Hawkins says, the first duty of Hollywood and entertainment in general used to be to entertain and maybe throw in a healthy moral message. Now it's to promote weird woke ideologies and convince your kids to be gay. Getting 110 likes. What was that? Yeah, the funny NFL meme. What was that douchebag? Tyler Kelsey. What was it? Is it Taylor or Tyler Kelsey? Taylor Kelsey. The guy with two girl. The football player has two girl names and is dating Taylor Swift. And it says accurate, and it's him yelling at the coach, and he's got the LGBT propaganda helmet, and the coach is just, it's being labeled me trying to just live my life. Getting 410 likes. Livercat Media TM says, keep telling your kids and your youth no one has to go along with this weird shit. 184 likes. Akush Sharma says, you can't beat the groomer acquisitions. And says, you can tell a Democrat they can't have sexual when you tell a Democrat they can't have sexual conversations with a 4-year-old, it's a fist getting all clenched. I got 704 likes, which is kind of creepy. All these adults want to have these type of conversation and themes with children, especially that aren't even theirs. It's one thing if you're an adult, you want to talk about your kids with birds and bees, that makes sense. But if, just wanting to show random kids this and all that, kind of a red flag. Arthur Eagleman says, why do they ruin everything? Getting 649 likes. Wait, Tree Appointment says, tired of liberal woke agenda hurting children. Says, raise your hand if you're tired of this shit. 355 likes. Dave the Mean Smith says, not surprising at all, it's Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. And he said, it's like being interviewed by a reporter, and it's a pride flag on the store. It says, what inspired you to change your corporate logo to rainbow flag? Wow. And Mr. Krabs simply responded with Satan. Got 534 likes, which I'm actually surprised he didn't say money, because that's the whole show. That's a shtick, but I understand that point as well. Let's see here. Thomas Regington says, Jurassic World should be about dinosaurs eating women, not women eating women. A little crass, but I appreciate it. Getting 277 likes. David Meansmith also says, and this is how it is, and it's Mickey Mouse with a switchblade, and it's got a transplanted flashback, and it's a person being attacked. It says, kids trying to watch a movie about puppies. Getting 230 likes. If there's any contrarian statements. Founding Fathers Knows Best says, this is gross. I wish they would leave gay stuff out of kids' television. And it's Dr. Evil saying this is indoctrination, getting 60 likes. Which... Planet Memes says not even June yet. Oh, come on, Planet Memes. Didn't respond to meme form. Or meme form if you want to be fancy. That did get 92 likes, though, despite the fact that it was not a meme. Here, is this a contrarian statement? Not really, just a random post. Here. Yeah, interesting enough. Not seeing any contrarian statements at all. Pretty much everyone agreeing, keep your kids off these devices. I mean, I won't say there's nothing good produced in the past 20 years, but you wouldn't be missing much if you just watched things back, from back earlier in time. Truth be told, probably the best movies are all in black and white. Best acting, you actually had good, even better music, better morals, values, and you didn't all have to have a message crammed down your throat. So yeah, needless to say, physical media is exceedingly important because 1, it's yours, you own it. 2, it can't be censored, and 3, they're not injecting themes that you have no idea. And also reason 9,958,453,723 to view all materials before letting your children see them, whether it be a book or movie, film, song. It's one of those things where I didn't understand as a child, but the older I get, the more I realize, oh yeah, 110%. If you're a parent, I want to say that's your number one priority, but that is certainly one of the top priorities, is helping filter the materials to ensure your kid gets the appropriate materials at the appropriate time and grows up to be a well-rounded individual. But let me know in the comments. Again, there are millions of people who, again, this will probably sell some subscriptions to whatever that Jurassic Park World Kid cartoon is. Because again, there are millions of people who do think it's a good idea to introduce these types of messages to kids as young as possible. Very unusual, and those people are usually arrested later in life for different things. I shall not speak of, but just total coincidence. But again, I have some friends of that community, or not that community, friends who are in the gay community who think it is a good thing to have them. They usually talk about like introducing like movies, like when they're maybe you're a teenager or something like that, where like you have a gay couple in a movie, or like what was it? I think Friends had a gay couple, didn't they, in the 90s, something like that. But yeah, in cartoons, that's where I think most of the debate really starts to happen. It's one of those things where, again, once you're an adult, watch whatever you want. Like it's not a controversy, not a cultural discussion really that I think of when it comes to like a movie that you and I see at theaters rated PG-13 or R when they have a gay character or a gay couple. That in the United States, it really isn't that much controversial anymore. It gets annoying if that's like the one theme of the show. It's just overbearing, like anything. If the theme is just too much and takes you away from the main theme of the film or main theme of the cartoon. But let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have California replacing traffic lights at stops and replacing them with stop signs due to rampant theft. The culture of California continues. And you also get what you vote for. Now, this is first brought to us thanks to an account on X Twitter by the name of End Wokeness. And he says specifically, Oakland is now replacing traffic lights with stop signs due to homeless encampments stealing from Oakland's electrical boxes. And you might think this is just dystopian like news clip or like almost like a Mad Max, like right before Mad Max gets to the main part of the show or movie where it's completely a hellscape. This is like right before. It's like the preview for Mad Max. This is from literally the video is CBS News in the Bay Area, and as you can see, they got a stop sign in an intersection because they just can't have the lights anymore. Now, perhaps this will help them transition to EVs because they can't sustain the current electric grid, and they keep having rolling brownouts. So maybe that's why this as well. I'm kidding. That's a negligible amount of energy consumption, but of course, I digress.
A drive on the busy East 12th Street, you'll come to this high-hanging stop sign above the road. Neighbors say city workers replaced the traffic lights with four-way stop signs in the last week.
It's just telling us that
I was gonna say, and go back, look at all those RVs that are just permanently on the side of the road. We're not talking fancy, South Dakota handmade, or not handmade, probably made Winnebagos. We're talking things that are barely functional and probably don't move. That type of RVs.
In the last week.
It's just telling us that the city is giving up on us.
Courtesy of Google Earth, this was how the intersection looked before. But neighbors say those lights haven't worked in months. They were either blinking red or completely out.
This is a brand new solution to a problem that's taken many forms here.
Mason Young lives near the intersection. He believes the stop signs are better than non-working traffic lights, which...
Has this person never driven a car in their life? Well, in what conceivable situation would that be more convenient? It's going to take you so much longer. He also does look like someone who lives there as well.
He blamed for this crash that sent a truck into the fence of a repair shop.
We got to stop just putting Band-Aids on things. Although, a Band-Aid's better than bleeding out.
The city did try to fix the traffic light at least a few times. But once they fix it, normally within a week or so, it will go out again.
Tamley owns the corner auto repair shop, been here for over 25 years. He and neighbors blame the problem on repeated copper thefts. Also, they point out homeless people are stealing power from city electrical boxes. As you can see, someone is running a wire from this box to an RV. A city spokesman says they try to put heavy cement blocks on top of the boxes, but people just drag them out. The city says when people illegally connected cables to the boxes, they knocked out the traffic lights.
If you really want to fix the stop sign, I think you really have to clean up this homeless encampment.
That's easier said than done.
So right now the camera's panning really quick, and it looks like a third world country. You have cars and RVs all like, I don't say duct taped together, but they have like cloth canopies. Ooh, it's a rough neighborhood when there's a Nissan. Kind of kidding. Looks like it needs to have the front bumper nearly off.
The encampment stretches about 3 blocks on East 12th Street. The city tried to clear it out for the past 5 years. But
bullshit. Pardon the French, but they tried to do that for 5 years? No. If you had a modicum of intelligence, you could fix that in probably 2 to 3 days. Again, you have a lot of people that could... You have a lot of resources, and they spend more than any other state. They spend billions of dollars on the homeless problem, and yet, I'm not sure how Gavin Newsom has been thrown in jail. A lot of the money just disappears, and again, the money that is spent clearly isn't spent well. You can also say this about a lot of nonprofits. They're so effective and great. Why does the problem still exist? I know some problems, certain categories, it's more difficult than others, but I'd love to see a nonprofit with the goal being they fix the problem to the point where they work so hard they get themselves out of that job. They eliminate the need for that job. I know there are a lot of variables that go into most problems in life, but that's what they should be striving for. They should be striving to eliminate their job. If you have a job for a nonprofit to eliminate disease, a cause of any kind, you want to be so good at it, the problem goes away. That should be the goal, I would think. And they're trying.
But it keeps coming back and gets bigger.
Because you incentivize it, California. You literally, in some cases, they actually pay these people just to do this. Another issue with welfare. Another issue with all these handouts. You're just self-perpetuating the problem. You're fueling the problem. You're getting more of it. It's almost as if incentives matter.
Many businesses already closed down on East 12. And I don't know how long we're going to be here, because once they move to outside of the sidewalk, we will be gone.
Heartbreaking. Yeah, the guy's owned that business for 20 years. And he's probably going to lose his business because of the ineptitudes of the government in California. And the cultural decay of California. Again, there's also a culture issue. There are many variables of why homelessness is skyrocketing. I suspect some of the issues is lack of community, lack of church, lack of friends, lack of family. You look at homelessness, that's, some of the biggest things. Back in the day, if you had someone in the community who was struggling, you'd all come together, help them out, and you have a roadmap to get them back on their feet. They wouldn't just, leech off the system forever. Also a lot of medical issues, a lot of mental health issues. And yet, no matter how much money they spend in California, it's not fixed. The cultural decay just keeps getting worse. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all economists will say California is a great place to live. This is just a one-off. We don't need to worry about the crime, even though, we don't prosecute crime to thanks to district attorneys anymore. If you just steal below up to $950, it's no longer a felony anymore. But let's jump in the comments to find out. Let's see what people are saying. Yeah, well, we got 1.7 million views and 12,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Balzazupa saying, quote, Oakland's mayor said that diversity is her priority. Since she's made it that statement, crime is to continue to plague Oakland and the hopelessness. Maybe it's time for Oakland to get a new mayor. Unquote, getting 206 likes, which that might be the good way to start the change, but it would be a long cultural change to actually fix the area. Going down, you have Sandra Loftus saying, well, what do you expect when you order a president through the mail? And it's by in a ditch with a hammer? And says, when I say Build Back Better, I was referring to my bank account, getting 113 likes. The flag guy says, the sheer speed of how much our country deteriorated under Biden is almost absolutely incredible, getting 602 likes. Arthur Eagleman says, Oakland is a shithole, yet keep voting in Democrats, getting 688 likes, which, yeah, a lot of ways to get what you vote for. Center of Chicago. I'll see them. Chicago's been Democrat for, 92 years? Nearly a century. And yet, they keep voting the same exact way, and things get worse and worse and worse in Chicago. Yeah, Florida 1 saying, why don't they remove the homeless encampments and keep the lights? Why do the tax-paying citizens always get short end? Getting 665 likes. The Deep Blue Crypto says, Oakland is amazing blue third world city in a first world country. Like about 30 seconds of rolling footage. And yeah, you're looking at footage here. It looks like Haiti. You have houses constructed of old wooden pallets. They're not houses, they're absolutely more like shacks. Reminds me of, if you ever, again, I know they don't really teach much history in public schools, but it almost is like Hooverville. Yeah. Makeshift tents being turned into, quote unquote, more permanent residence. Using a myriad of materials. Trash everywhere. Other side of cultural decay. People who just throw the trash on the ground, and people who don't return their cart to the cart return at the grocery store. I'm not saying it should be, sent to the gulag necessarily. But they should ask, a little public shame thrown at them. They should lose a little face, as the youth might say. Because again, that shows they're lazy, inept, or just not a good person. See, more and more videos of Oakland. Professor says Bidenomics, and it's Biden sitting in a room where, it's the "this is fine" meme. And Biden saying "this is fine," it says war, campus riots, illegal immigration, inflation, getting 48 likes. Libercat Media TM has Smokey the Bear, says only, maybe I could sound like Smokey the Bear. Let me give it a try. Only you can prevent Democrats from turning your state into California. Perhaps not the best Smokey impression, but yeah, at least when I was a kid, they sounded about right. But nevertheless, I got 71 likes. And statistically speaking, it's fascinating all these cities have these problems. They vote very similarly. So, now I'm contrarian comments here. I mean, the guy in the video is pretty excited, like, oh yeah, this is better. Again, I don't know if he's just never driven a car before. I mean, it certainly isn't. And you're just going to have more crime, more homelessness, more drugs, more disease. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Until, what is it, just hit rock bottom? And maybe at some point people will start to build the culture in a better way. Certainly won't be built back better, so to say, I wouldn't think. But let me know, would you ever visit Oakland these days? Would you, again, they're talking about, that's just heartbreaking. A man who spent 20 years of his life building a business, and most likely will be closed in the next couple months. Because of government ineptitude and cultural decay. I mean, would you ever move to Oakland? Would you ever visit there? Would you ever go to California? Leave in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Biden claiming black men are being hunted during a commencement speech, which, yeah, it's been a couple years since my commencement speech. It was a pretty bad speech. It wasn't very memorable. But at least it wasn't talking about people getting murdered and hunted. I mean, that's not a very motivational commencement speech. I mean, anyone with modicum intelligence would probably say, oh, if I was speaking at one of those instances, I would say, you're in a lot of debt. You better start working like hell to pay that off, because it's the one debt that cannot be written through bankruptcy process. But nevertheless, this comes from End Wokeness. And End Wokeness says, Biden tells black students they're being hunted in the streets. That's not just divisive, it's total BS. 2023 interracial homicides. 86 blacks were killed by whites. 488 whites were killed by blacks. Unquote. Although, unfortunately, again, it's annoying as hell. He didn't give me the link to the actual statistics. I don't know if this is because of it. I don't know if this is most likely from the FBI database on the criminal statistics, but again, anytime, it only takes a couple seconds to throw in the URL. Because again, I don't know if that's necessarily true. So yeah, as far as some people take a grain of salt when it comes to statistics, especially polls. Now, polls, you can always manipulate. I'll talk about that another time. If you tuned in the show before, you know, one of the few things I learned from college is that was a modicum of value. Was the professor in business statistics told me, always ask, what is your sample size? Because again, that can determine a lot, not just geographically, but age, gender, religion. There are a lot of variables. But I personally digress. And interesting enough, even though what he's saying is mentally vacuous, the way he is speaking is actually one of the most articulate speeches I've heard from Biden in the past 6-7 months. I mean, he doesn't stutter hardly at all. In terms of just being able to speak, I don't know if he's maybe took a 5-hour energy drink or copious amounts of, I don't know, some magical drug, but I think he actually sounds moderately coherent. Pretty rare. And of course, he has a funny little suit with the cape that they have in colleges. But my partial digress, I'll go ahead and I usually say they sound infinitely better than me, but let me know whose voice is more soothing and therapeutic and awesome in the comments.
It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? Betrayal of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
Who's clapping that? First of all, it's blatantly not true. If you look at United States, or look at the globe, in terms of income and who makes the most, like, where do you make the most money statistically based on race? The United States is the best country. And the highest earning income group in the United States, I believe, is Indians, followed by Asian Americans, Then you have white, then you have African Americans. You look at the globe, African Americans make more in the United States than any other country. The United States has the best opportunity for people, bar none, even with all the bureaucratic BS, even with the APA killing jobs, even with the government cracking down and trying to make it impossible to make a profit owning a business. Even with all that. Reminds me of a good old quote by Ted Nugent who said, the whole world sucks, but the US just sucks the least. And I can't imagine, again, statistically speaking, what he's saying is not true. And again, it's the best places for opportunity. Because again, businesses care about one thing. Who's going to deliver the most profit for the business? Doesn't matter what age, doesn't matter what, well, I guess in the United States, you have to be 18 to work most jobs. But again, they don't care about your creed, they don't care about your race, they care about what employee is going to be the most profitable. What's their resume look like? It's especially easy to qualify in sales roles where you see what was their quota attainment past couple of years, how much they sell in products, services, what have you. But let's go to the comments. Maybe I'm alone in this assessment. Maybe this will be, maybe this is a good move on the political chessboard because there are a lot of people who agree with his vernacular that he's saying here, even though it's not true. But again, statistically speaking, this is also a very popular way to churn up votes and, make, rice a divisive issue. And it got 1.2 million views. I mean, a lot of people tuned in. And, let's see here, 32,000 people liked it. What are the couple of top comments? Oh, here we go. Egg Woke next gets an A+. They say, data is all here. Let me check them out. National Conservative, looks like, pull up the actual data. All right, so this comes from, fortunately, I do not know the website. I haven't seen the website before, but it's at nationalconservative.com. It tells you the rates of, it gives you all the specific instances, and it gives you a pie chart and breakdown. So this is where the statistics he earlier brought up when he says 86 African Americans were killed by whites, 488 whites were killed by African Americans. So that I spoke too soon. He actually did provide the statistics link. Got 757 likes for that. Now, Paul Zupa saying everything Joe says is a lie. When you realize that, then everything he says makes sense. Biden is the one perpetuating division in the United States. He thinks by doing so it'll be easier to control us. Let him not decide us. Unquote. Grammar, of course. It should be let him not divide us. Getting 420 likes, which, yeah, I can't help but, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, just hang out with people. Most folks, regardless of race, we have a lot of the same things in common. And I think a lot of politicians, left and right, try to use particular issues to divide us. I mean, you talk to most people on the streets, most people, what are they worried about these days? Worried about inflation. Worried about gas costing $7 a gallon in California. Worried about not being able to make rent next month. Worried about where their country is going. Worried about the riots. I think more people have more in common than we tend to think. But nevertheless, you have Sam saying love it, which this has to be her only job in life. Because she's the one where her whole shtick on Twitter is she takes pictures like cheese boards or some crap like that. And all she does is give Biden accolades, saying love it, and then she'll tweet this little, I don't know if it's an affiliate link, maybe she gets money from it, but it's the Tide parody shirt where it says vote instead of the Tide logo. It has a Tide background, it says remove stubborn orange stains. And 0 people like that. Yeah, not even a single like. G. Van Fleet says, for decades, the Democratic Party has been sowing the seeds of resentment, hatred, and division in the black community. For one thing, their votes. In 1.6 thousand likes. And fascinatingly enough, Biden talks about broken promises. Look at Chicago. Democrats have been catering to that community for decades, almost 100 years, saying we're going to fix things. What has been fixed in Chicago in the past 100 years? Has anything gotten better? Are businesses moving there? Are people moving there happily? Quite the antithesis is true. Most businesses are leaving in droves, and people who can move are getting out. Scrolling down more, Paul Hoopman says your government and media won't tell you the truth, and talks about interracial crime incidents in 2018. It says white on black was 59,788, black on white was 547,948. That got 206 likes. It also says blow your mind, and it says murders of black and white people in the U.S. per 100 murder of race. It says whites killed by black was 11.3%, blacks killed by whites was 0.05 or 0.5%. My eyesight isn't the best. This is black and whites 10.8%, and blacks by blacks is 90. Jeez Louise. 70.4%. Again, the screens are a little far. That got 317 likes. Let's see here. Democrat media CM says must be another election. Democrats are visiting black communities, getting 302 likes, which, yeah, pandering just seem to be, a lot of people do that more and more. Trying to see if there's any contrarian statements. Because again, this will resonate with millions of Americans. People will vote for Biden because of that speech. Believe it or not. I mean, a lot of people agree with what he's saying. You know, statistically speaking, again, people make more in the United States than pretty much any other country. Yeah. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this type of political rhetoric still works? Is it still good a political move on the chessboard? Or do you think, culturally speaking, there's going to be a shift where more and more Americans are starting to think, I don't care about each other's race, just treat everyone equally, and everyone has equal opportunity. We're not buying what you're selling, Mr. President. Let me know in the comments. Perhaps I'm just a foolish optimist, hoping we'll all, realize that we're more united than not. Let me know in the comments. As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Vivek thinking that the Biden-Trump debate is actually a setup. Now, this coming after months of speculation that Biden and Trump will not debate at all. They'll just hide in their basement, or one in the basement, one in, I guess, a beach, or a lot of courtrooms. And again, a lot of people are saying, well, Biden doesn't want to debate him because, Trump would sweep the floor with him. But again, early in the show, Biden was able to coherently speak at a college commission. Granted, it was only about 47 seconds, and maybe he's on some substances. Truth be told, I don't know what he's on, but if there's a juice or type of, magical elixir that he's on, I'll try it. But nevertheless, let me go over. Vivek's voice is obviously anything better than mine. It's only about 2.5 minutes over on Fox News, which is somehow still in business. I'm not sure how. I'm pretty sure only 18 people tune in. Granted, most of them are on life support, but partially digress. Thanks to Vivek's ex-Twitter profile, he says, here's why the Democrat Party suddenly let the Biden debate Trump. It's a setup. It's their final Hail Mary for Biden. If it fails, they will have enough time to swap Biden for a new nominee. That's why it's in June, the earliest ever presidential TV debate in history. It's obvious, unquote. And without too much further ado.
Joining me now, Vivek Ramaswamy, former 2024 Republican presidential candidate, saw him in court on Tuesday. Vivek, you say this might be a setup. Why?
Yeah, I believe it is a setup, Laura, and here's how it's working. Why did Biden pull this 180 all of a sudden, and why did the Democrats let him do it? Let's put together some facts here. On one hand, CNN is hosting it. They're going to prop up Biden, try to make him look as good as possible. But also note, this is the earliest ever presidential debate in recorded American history, in June. Why is that? This is a Hail Mary attempt for Biden as his numbers are tanking. This is their last chance to give him a desperate attempt to succeed. And if he doesn't, as I expect will be the case, that gives them enough time to swap out somebody else for the nomination. That's what's going on. Set him up for the best possible look you can give him. It's not a neutral forum. It's CNN. Do the 180 as he's tanking. But if he fails, they have enough time to prop up a new puppet. That's what I think is going on.
So Biden is his own trial balloon. He's been around for like 50 years, and they're still auditioning him. That's pretty funny.
I think it's going to be an extraordinary way for him to go out in style. I do not think that even with that tipped hand moderator, I would have said pick a left of center network and a right of center network to do it together. But you're going to have a left of center network, CNN doing it. They're going to try their best to make Biden look good. I think they're going to fail, and they're going to fail miserably. And after that comes the red carpet for whoever substitutes Biden after that.
Trump, all he needs to do, Vivek, is to be cool. Because Biden is going to throw insults at him. The only thing he can do is try to bait him. Bait Trump, get him into a mudslinging contest where he loses it. That's what they're going to try to do. If Trump does a Reagan and just like, has the equivalent of there you go again, he'll win it by, hands down.
Having spent a lot of time with President Trump, I think that he is a further place than he was. He's been the president already. I think he is more than ready for this. The record speaks for itself. It's a rare opportunity to compare 4 years of Trump to 4 years of Biden. Donald Trump, they've put him through everything. They've put him through this trial, countless others they're trying to put him through. This is going to be the least of his concerns. I'm confident he's going to come out shining. But my concern, Laura, is that this is in June and it's early. It's part of a broader plot for a replacement plan they then have in the works.
Well, if what they have is Gretchen Whitless Whitmer and not having Gavin Newsom, then good luck. All I can say is good luck. I don't think that's going to work. Vivek, it was great to see you the other day, and come back soon. Thanks so much. Joining me.
Yeah, that is very unusual to have the earliest debate ever. And I think it might be a little bit of truth to what Vivek is saying, because, again, Biden doesn't even Hail Mary. I don't know if he's going to get it. They were able to juice him up. He was on something during the last debate all those years ago, because, again, he got through most of the debate pretty coherently. And so maybe he'll be able to pull that off again. That's also, I mean, mere weeks away, but that could be a long time. But WebPayPal got 1.3 million views and 22,000 likes. One of the first ones being from Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, "I believe there's no way that Biden is a nominee after Ashley confirmed the child abuse." It got 1.2 thousand likes. And yeah, their diary just got released or confirmed. She confirmed her diary is real. Let's see here. Brendan says, Vivek Ramaswamy, but be the guy to quote Ashley Biden on Fox News. And Ashley Biden president said, quote, "Showered with my dad, probably not appropriate," unquote. Got 132 likes. Woke GPT says Trump should begin his opening statement by saying something to the effect of, "They're going to replace him after tonight. This debate is pointless, but let's do it anyway." Getting 362 likes, which, yeah, wouldn't be too bad of a point to make. Here. Dalton Sutton says, Vivek is the best orator Trump has on his side. We need a fighter, not a standby VP. And Vivek has it. Getting 781 likes. Philip Anderson says, quote, or correct rather, the Biden Democrats are trying to steal the election with lawfare and they're calling failing. Their debate is the last hope. Getting 301 likes. Going down more and more. DEL says, I've been saying from the beginning that it's a set because they want to get rid of Biden and replace him with someone else. Getting 210 likes. Gizmo says, new scum U-Haul salesman of the year waiting in the wings. And U-Haul says, congrats, Gavin, salesman of the year. Getting 390 likes because, yeah, there's a record number of people leaving California. So much so that U-Haul ran out of actual products. Like, they had nothing left in terms of moving vans because so many people were leaving California. Yeah, 390 likes. Let's see here. Joe has dementia says, quote, not only CNN and the radical left moderators, but they can cut Trump's mic off at will. In saying that this is agreed to, Trump team better have a better plan to beat his gauntlet. Getting 92 likes. Sam says, good one. Is she literally just a bot at this point? Because again, she's saying good one, but then she has the advertisement for the Joe Biden shirt. No one liked that, though, of course. Not a single like. Pat Barnett says, here comes Big Mike, getting 24 likes. So, yeah, I can't but think, what's most likely at the end of the day? I mean, I know it's been said 100 times before, but I think Gavin Newsom's probably most likely. Again, he has the appearance a lot of the ladies like. He's articulate. These ideas are, morally, mentally vacuous. That's why the state is failing left and right, pretty much in every metric. But let me know, do you think most likely they're going to shoo him in at last minute? What are your thoughts on the whole debate? Do you think it will go well? Do you think it will just crash and burn? Are there a lot of undecided voters who just don't know who they're going to vote for that are really going to tune in and try to see, who has a better methodology to fix problems? As always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Mercedes-Benz workers voting no to the UAW. And some might argue, why is this political partnership? Well, the UAW is one of the largest lobbying groups for politics, and 99% of their funds go to Democrats. And yeah, they're pretty influential. There are millions of people who are part of the program or part of the union, and they are most famously known for making vehicles for General Motors, Ford, as well as Chrysler. Yeah, not working out. Yeah, interestingly enough, the vehicles aren't the best reliability. And Ford keeps having trucks with mismatched headlights and mismatched seats, but never mind, that's totally coincidence, I'm sure. But again, they found a lot of money in politics, and their endorsements matter. I mean, the UAW officially endorsed Joe Biden for the for president in 2024 election this year. A lot of people are going to vote based on just their endorsement. Now, going back to the article on LinkedIn News, they say specifically, they note that workers at a Mercedes-Benz plant in Alabama voted against joining the United Auto Workers Union with a 56% vote opposed to the move, according to the National Labor Relations Board. The vote is a setback to the UAW after they secured contracts with GM, Ford, and Stellantis in October, which Stellantis, again, they went bankrupt so bad, Chrysler, in 2009, partially because of the union cost. They actually ended up being bought by Fiat over in Europe, and the new parent company is all called Stellantis, if you feel so inclined to make it fancy. And yeah, they have a record contract. It is now the most expensive labor, and it's definitely not great for consumers. And interesting enough, they turned it down, probably because they know that means less jobs and, in the long run, less money. It's also one of the most hilariously ironic things that unions overwhelmingly voted for people who are outlawing the cars that they make. The UAW actually helped politicians get into office, such as Biden, and they're making ICE cars or ICE engines illegal with de facto tailpipe bans and emission bans. They have to make EVs, which will mean less rudimentary labor and more skilled labor like software engineering and things that UAW is not known for. Like, you can't just sit around and do nothing for 8 hours like some of those members may or may not do. I mean, totally not. It's a joke because, yeah, some of them do. I had family management as well as frontline participating with companies such as General Motors and assembly in the office. So I've heard a lot of stories about, getting paid to do very little. But interesting enough, they said no, so that means a little less funding. You'll have to spend a little bit less for those types of Mercedes vehicles because, again, it's not unionized labor. And when you buy the vehicle, part of the money is going to be going to control and vote for certain politicians. So very interesting. We'll see how much they just try to push for yet another vote and they just keep doing it again and again and again until they get their way. And then, interesting enough, would you actually buy or not buy a vehicle just on the fact alone that is made by the UAW? As always, let me know in the comments. I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Ford, BMW, and Honda recalling nearly 200,000 vehicles. Now, this is actually from Anahish Forbes, which the fact that she works at USA Today, I don't say it's an epic fail, but her name is Forbes and she doesn't work at Forbes magazine, or like that just seems, it almost seems like fate. Like, how did she not get that job? It's almost be as silly as being named Topping, not owning a pizza store. Oh wait, well, I partially digress. Now, again, she notes that, quote, Honda, Ford, BMW among 199,000 vehicles being recalled. Check your car recalls here. Now, last week, actually, spoke about the Honda one, where they called, was 177 for their Ridgeline. Now, this talks about the BMW being recalled for a seatbelt malfunction. It looks like, yeah, that's a pretty SUV. Granted, I'm not an SUV guy. It also is like a hybrid, which BMW used to be the ultimate driving experience back in the day. But nevertheless, they know that BMW is recalling 3,256 of its 2024 and 2025 vehicles. In the report, they note that they can fail to comply with the requirements for the safety regulation number 208, occupant crash protection. And it looks like specifically, the seatbelt system may not detect the passengers are in the vehicle are belted. As a result, the seatbelt warning lights will not illuminate and cause the supplemental restraint systems, SRS, to not deploy properly during a crash. When a seatbelt warning light does not alert the driver that their passenger are unbelted or the SRS system fails to deploy, it can increase the risk of injury or crash. Now, it looks like they'll get notifications in July 5th is when they'll be sent out, or just tune into the show and find out months earlier. You can also call BMW at 1-800-525-7417. Looks like pretty much every X5 manufacturer, what is this? Oh, geez. A lot of the vehicles. So again, these are model years. But model year 2024 XM, 2024 X5, 2025 X6, X7, and the Alpine XB7. And other recalls is Ford, which they're a very heavy participant in this part of the show. They know that the recall over the software error that disrupts its drive power. Now they're recalling 8,726 or 27 of the vehicles. The hybrid powertrain control module software may cause the vehicle to shift into neutral unexpectedly, which of course causes loss of power and can be detrimental. Those are going to be mailed out May 23rd, a little bit faster. Call Ford at 1-866-436-7332. Recall number is 24S33. Ford recall specifically is for vehicles with 2020 to 2022 Ford Escape or Escape if you want to feel fancy. 2021 to 2022 Lincoln Corsair, and 2022-2024 Ford Maverick. And of course, you have the Honda Ridgelines coming in at 187,290 vehicles for 2020 to 2024 Ridgeline trucks. So it's very rare instance we actually have a trifecta of vehicle recalls with Ford as well as BMW and Honda, which again chisels away at the reputation for brand recognition. Now, again, thankfully, it doesn't sound like anyone has been injured yet. So again, they're doing the right thing, getting ahead of it, and hopefully everyone is able to get their vehicles fixed properly. But again, having some rudimentary things of having seatbelts, tailgates, and software having these issues, again, I was going to say, Ford, BMW, Honda, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leave a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.